As we prepare to celebrate the 242nd birthday of America this week, we need to heed this urgent call to prayer given by the Apostle Paul in this passage. For most of our nation's history, there was prayer, for example, in our schools. And then after a series of decisions in 1962 and 1963, we took prayer out of the public school system for the most part, didn't we? And we recognize that. And most of us would agree that when you look at the effect of taking prayer out of the schools, it's been a devastating effect, right? Education has experienced some difficulties when we forget to seek the Lord. So, some of those difficulties include academic achievement, and in many places has plummeted, including SAT scores. There's an increase in out-of-wedlock births among teenagers. There's the increase in illegal drug use, increase in juvenile crime, and deterioration of school behavior. And on top of that, there's a lot of other issues that we face as well. Look at all the shootings that are going on in schools today. But recently, something more sobering than the removal of prayer in public schools has been taking place. And it does not get much attention, and it needs attention. Now we're seeing the removal of prayer from the churches in America. And the government is not responsible for removing prayer from the churches. The professing Christians are the ones who are responsible for removing prayer from the churches. Prayer is being removed from the churches not by the government, but by people who claim to be Christians who attend the churches. Many churches in our nation have dropped prayer meetings because nobody comes. Many of the remaining church prayer meetings in this land, most of them are very poorly attended. And I would argue that if you look at the effect that removing prayer from the churches has had, it is a devastating effect on the churches. Many of the same moral problems we have in public schools, we now have in professing Christian churches. When you look at the other issues going on in churches today, a lot of it can be attributed to the lack of prayer. Churches are closing at record rates in the Western Hemisphere. It has been true in Europe, and it is true in America. In America right now, they're saying that about 1,500 pastors a month are actually leaving the ministry. And churches are dying. And the behaviors in the churches are no different in a lot of cases than behaviors anywhere else in the world. And I would argue that the lack of churches praying together is having a devastating effect on our churches. Now, even our churches that are committed to the Bible, there's a lot of powerlessness going on in the churches. We are having good sermons, Bible-believing sermons, Bible-believing positions, but we're not seeing God move like we used to see God move. And I would argue that we'll never see God move the way that God used to move if the church don't pray like the church used to pray.